Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we have a really fun video planned. It is that time. It's almost the end of February. It is wrapping up February and I'm honestly kind of excited to wrap up February because it is time for March TBR. I'm so excited we could do it a little bit differently this time. So instead, we're still gonna do kind of the same like shelf way that we've been doing it, where I'm going to pick 10 books, one from each one of my shelves. But today I'm actually going to just pick a book off of each shelf and kind of like a blindly pick a book. Like I'm just going to like move my finger until I pick one and we'll see what we come up with. But I just thought it might be a little bit fun to switch it up a little bit, but still kind of the same concept, because I have really been enjoying being able to get through my TBR. I feel like this process so far has helped me get rid of some books, either reading books off my shelf that have been on there for years, or just even like picking it up and deciding that it's not something that I'm into anymore and getting rid of it and being able to unhaul it. So I am so glad, even though some of the books have been unhauled so far. I think I've had 2 so far in February that I have decided to unhaul instead of reading. But I'm still really happy that I was able to get some books off my physical TBR so that I can make room for books that I have already read that I want to move back onto some of these shelves, or new books, because I am actually going to be going book shopping tomorrow, so we will have probably a little bit of a haul coming up. But yeah, let's get into the picks. Let's see what we're gonna get. So I'm actually gonna start with this shelf because these 2 shelves, not this one, the bottom one is my husband's, but the top 2 I am going to just kind of like blindly pick so that you guys can kind of see like how I'm doing it. And then for my other 2 shelves out there, I'll just go pick the books and then we'll go over what we got. So this shelf is mainly like mystery thriller kind of vibes, and then I have some like literary fiction, and I think maybe a little bit of the same like thriller mystery vibe. So we're just gonna kind of like move around and see what we land on. So I think I'm just gonna like count to 5 because I feel like that's a good amount of time. Okay, let's do it. I feel so silly, but like we're gonna do it anyway. It's gonna be so fun. Okay. Ooh, I literally got like right on the money with this one. Okay. Oh wait, I'm actually so excited. Okay, I'm not gonna look at it yet. Okay, next one. This is kind of in the way. We're just gonna move around. I'm gonna go kind of up and down because I have 2 stacks here. Let's see. This is so exciting. You guys can't even see the shelf. Okay, we got this one. We got Year of Wonders. Okay, now I'm gonna go pick the next 8 books? Yeah, we're gonna go pick the next 8 books and I will be back. We did it. We have our books here. It's of literary fiction, but let's kind of like go through everything we've gotten. I'll start with the 2 we got from this shelf, and that is Year of Wonders by Geraldine Brooks. It is set in 1666. It follows our main character, Anna Frith, who is a housemaid in this isolated village in London, where essentially cloth contains this plague and it ends up infecting everybody in London, and it kind of just follows the village as everybody is quarantining and death starts to take over the village and everybody's household, and it just kind of follows from her viewpoint. So yeah, I'm really excited about this one. I think it's going to be really interesting. It is historical fiction, which I love historical fiction, so hopefully This book looks so interesting. I remember picking it up and I was like, wow, this is like such an interesting concept. This is about our main character Agnes and her daughter Bee, who is 5 years old, and she's slowly wasting away, consumed by smog and pollution of an overdeveloped metropolis that is just like overpopulated, and it's just like slowly killing her daughter. So if they stay, she's going to die. But if they leave, they have to venture into this like unknown wilderness state, which up until this point has been uninhabitable. It's like untouched, protected land where it's been uninhabitable up to this point. Nobody's allowed to go there. Bee, Agnes, and 18 other people decide to be guinea pigs in an experiment and go live in this wilderness state to basically like see if it's inhabitable for everybody. And it's basically an experiment to see if humans can live in nature without destroying it, and like how they're going to survive. I'm actually so excited to read this one. Then we have Verona Comics. This is a romance book, and I think it is enemies to lovers. This couple, I'm pretty sure that she works at a comic book store that is kind of like struggling, and he works at like a mega comic book store, and they're kind of like rivals to lovers vibe. So I'm excited for this. Then we have another, if you guys remember my January TBR, I read a different poetry book by this author, The Dark Between Stars Atticus Poems, and it just has really cool like pictures, and the writing is pretty good. It wasn't my favorite kind of poetry, but I think it'll be like a quick little read in between all my other books, and I am excited to read this book. The next book is The Chaperone by Laura Moriarty. This book is kind of like historical fiction too. This book is kind of like set in the 1920s, 1930s, Great Depression, Prohibition era. And it's following our two main characters, 15-year-old girl named Louise, who is going to leave Kansas to go study at a school in a prestigious dance school in New York, and she ends up, because she's so young, she has to have a chaperone, and she ends up going with this stranger, 36-year-old Cora, who kind of has her own reasons for going, but we don't know yet why she's going. And it follows these two as they're venturing into this new part of life in this really like very different area. And as like this very traditional woman, Cora has to follow Louise, who is kind of known for like her lack of respect, and she's very arrogant, and they end up having to travel together and spend 5 weeks together, and it kind of like changes them, transforms their lives together. So I think that this book is going to be really sweet. I'm really hoping that they have like I'm thinking it's going to be very like heartwarming maybe. And I've read a book kind of like this before, so I'm excited for this one. The Birth of Venus by Sarah Dunant is set in the Renaissance era. It is not quite 15 when her father brings a young painter back from the north to paint these like Renaissance paintings in the chapel walls in Florence, and she like loves the art. She's grown up around it her whole life, and she ends up kind of falling for this painter and just kind of like exploring it. You know, she's very innocent. She ends up like falling for him and kind of wanting to explore these feelings a little bit more, but she is to be wed to an older man. As it was in this time, you know, you're set up to be married to people that are a lot older than you. The Medicis are kind of being threatened by like hellfire preaching, and there's just a lot going on all at once. And it just follows Alessandra as she is growing up in all of this and kind of trying to figure out herself. So I'm hoping this will be good. I'm hoping that I'm able to get into it. It looks very interesting. It looks like something that I would have read as a kid, so I am excited. I actually believe that this book might be a memoir. It is by Jillian Lauren. It's called Some Girls, My Life in a Harem, and it follows her. It's her own story. I don't know if it is completely based on truth or if she kind of like made it fiction but based on her life events. I'm not sure, but it is a story of how Jillian Lauren was a New York theater school dropout basically casting for a movie, I think, and the casting director ends up sending her to Singapore, ends up staying in this palace and basically just being in a harem, vying with other girls to get the prince's attention. And I think that this is going to be really interesting. I don't know, I'm not sure if it's completely a memoir or if it's somewhat fiction too, but it is by the author, about the author's life. So it is obviously somewhat based on true events. So I am looking forward to this one. This one has always intrigued me. I've had it on my bookshelf for forever, so I'm excited about that. And we have The Secrets of Roscobury Hall by Anna Loughlin. I'm pretty sure I've already tried to read this one. It follows two sisters who are a little bit older. They are living in this small Irish village in this crumbling mansion, and they end up going bankrupt, and the one sister decides that she the two sisters like don't have a lot of, like, they've been through a lot of trauma and they don't really talk to each other now. They kind of just like, they live together but they don't communicate, and one of the sisters decides that she they end up going bankrupt, and one of the sisters decides that she's going to go against her sister's wishes and turn the like bottom part of their mansion into a cafe because she's a baker. And so she ends up doing this against her sister's wishes, and they end up kind of getting more involved again in the village life and kind of having to come to terms with what they've been through. And they end up hiring someone who is kind of like comes and like brings some life into the place, I think. So I think that there is going to be kind of like some heartfelt moments in this book, but I am pretty excited. I feel like I've tried to read this one before, but I'm not sure if that was a different book. But it's been on my bookshelf for a while, so I'm pretty sure I thrifted this book, but I'm excited to read it. The last book that we have is White Teeth by Zadie Smith. This is a fictional book. I think it's supposed to be kind of like humorous. It's supposed to be about like different families and like love and drama and stuff. But this is like a classic book, I'm pretty sure. Like, I feel like I've heard about it forever, and as soon as I saw it I was like, I have to read this book. So I'm very excited to read this one. I decided that I'm only going to read 9 books for this month because I didn't really want to pick off my fantasy shelf. I feel like a lot of them are just series, and I'm not really trying to start a series right now. Like, I don't some of the books on there are like the Crescent City series. I don't want to read that yet. There's just a couple books I don't want to read, and I kind of feel like I haven't been able to get through my March TBR. That I haven't been able to get through my TBRs fast enough to feel like I want to read another fantasy. I already had to read some fantasies this month, and it was kind of hard to get through the rest of my TBR, so I feel like it'll just be a little bit easier. Plus, I want to be able to like maybe read some books on my Kindle, and I just feel like it'll be easier if I don't have so much pressure on my physical TBR this month. Our TBR for this month, I am really excited to start some of these. I don't know which one I'm going to start first. Probably one of the historical fiction ones, because I feel like I have quite a few historical fictions. We got like one thriller kind of book. So I think it's going to be a pretty good one this month. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see some updates on my March reading, go ahead and subscribe and give this video a like, and I will see you guys in the rest of my March reading month. Bye!